Okay, how's everybody? Just a real quick video here. I got a message on Facebook from someone who follows my page or is who's liked my page, and they posted a series of articles on some kind of creature down in Smith County, Mississippi. This caught my attention, and it's a whole series of articles, and I thought I'd just share it with you guys. The name of the publication is The Morning Call. I don't know where that paper was based out of, but the first article was issued on September 1st, 1929 on a Sunday. And the big headline is, Big Posse Will Seek Wild Woman This Morning. So I'm just going to start at the first article, and I'm going to read them all to you because I don't know why, but these older articles really interest me. But here we go. I'm just reading this off my screen, so y'all bear with me here. A wild woman reported in the swamps in Smith County. Scores of citizens from Smith and Jones counties are expected to gather at Taylorsville Sunday morning when a hunt will begin at 8 o'clock for a wild woman reported to be in the swamps near that town. Marshal T.E. Blankney of Taylorsville informed the call Saturday night. Whether the affair will be a wild woman chase or a wild goose chase remains to be seen. At any rate, a lot of people who have never before chased wild women are expected to be on hand. Quote, "We are extending a special invitation to our Laurel friends to come out and join us in this hunt," Marshal Blankney stated. Quote, "We intend to comb the swamp where she is reported to be until we find her." The marshal continues on, "We will begin our search. We will not use dogs to track her down. But should it become necessary in order to locate her, we will probably secure some good hounds." Some of this is real faded on the article, so I'm having a strain to read it. The search for the wild woman reported to be inhabiting the swamps near Taylorsville follows the accounts which P.A. Walker, a farmer, tells of having seen such a creature and talked with her several days ago at his farm. According to Mr. Walker's description, the woman, who was nude except for a cloth girdle, was covered from head to foot with hair about 4 inches long. From Mr. Walker's description, she has more the appearance of an animal than a human being. Mr. Walker states that he questioned the woman when she suddenly appeared near him at the edge of the swamp where he was chopping wood. She told the Smith County farmer that she was reared in Alabama about 6 years ago and became mentally deranged. Since that time, she is reported to have said she has lived in the Smith County swamp where she has shot her food and eaten it raw. We have heard no definite reports of the woman since she was seen by Mr. Walker. Marshal Blankney told the call, but we have reason to believe that she is still in the swamp where she was first reported. That's the first article. The second thing the gentleman sent me is another article. It says, "Big Posse Fails to Find Trace of Wild Woman." If there's a wild woman in Leaf River Swamp in Smith County, 150 citizens from that and adjoining counties failed Sunday morning to find hair nor hide of her, and from all reports she has plenty of the latter and may be presumed sooner or later to shed some of that hair near her lair. Gathering at the home of P.A. Walker, Smith County farmer, who reported several days ago that the wild woman had visited him at his farm, a large posse led by Sheriff T.J. Tullis, Smith County, began a search for the hairy swamp denizen about 8 o'clock. Members of the posse stationed themselves 50 paces apart and proceeded up the swamp until they reached a vacated mill house where the woman told Mr. Walker she spent her nights. Nowhere was there a trace of the wild woman found, and before 11 o'clock the posse decided that it might be engaged in a wild goose chase instead of one for a wild woman and abandoned the search. No further efforts will be made to apprehend the weird creature, officers state, unless she again makes her appearance. In such a case, dogs will be secured and put on her trail. Failure of the posse to find the wild woman was the greatest disappointment in the lives of a lot of Laurel County people who had been preparing themselves for a look at the unusual lady. From all the descriptions, she is covered from head to foot with brown hair about 4 or 5 inches long. Her face is covered with hair 2 inches long, and for 6 years, as the wild woman's story goes, she has been living in Leaf River Swamp, shooting her food and eating it raw. That's the second article. Here's another article, and I guess it's from the same newspaper. Call offers reward for wild woman. The Morning Call will pay $100 in cash to any person or persons delivering to the office of this newspaper a wild woman found in a Smith County swamp whose body is naturally covered with brown hair between 4 and 5 inches long, and whose face is covered with hair 1 inch long, whose hair drops down over her wrist to her knuckle joints, and that on her feet trails in the dust as she walks to and fro, provided these conditions are carefully observed. Number 1, said wild woman must be securely tied and delivered at this office. We don't propose to have our whole staff laid up in a hospital. She must be brought directly to this newspaper office after she is found. Note, if her clothing or absence of it is ultra-modern, she may be taken first to a dress shop and garbed. However, the lady's wishes shall be abided by in this case. If she doesn't care, well, we aren't particular either. Number 3, any and all newspaper interviews with her must be secured by a representative of the Call. We may have to employ a special reporter to handle this assignment. Our regular staff is skittish of the wild woman. Number 4, the said lady must be really wild, that is, wilder than women usually are. We don't want her if she's just crazy. A lot of people are that way. Okay. Oh, this gets better as we go. Okay, here's another one. I can't see the title of it. Let me zoom out. Okay. Smith County man seeks wild woman naked in the woods. Taylorsville, August 31st. Apparently this was written before the first article I read you, but here we go. Hopes had not been abandoned Friday night in the search for a wild woman who is reported to be living in the swamps a few miles below here. The first reports were given last Wednesday when Pink Walker, a farmer who lives below here, said that the woman approached him where he was at work in the woods. A search was made, but no trace of her was found. Rumors were spread Friday that other people living in that vicinity had seen a wild woman. Walker is said to have stated that she had long hair, she was man-like, and wore very little clothing. Okay, that's another. Here's one more. Again, I'm assuming this is from the Call, but it says, wild woman eludes Smith County posse. All right, this is September 2nd, the day after the first article. Smith County's wild woman is still at large, roaming the woods of that county at will and eating raw rabbits and other tidbits unmolested by the rules of etiquette and unhampered by the criticisms of society. Efforts of a posse said to have contained at least 150 seekers for the wild woman and determined to catch her have returned to their homes sorely disappointed and painfully unrewarded. They didn't find her. The posse was headed by Sheriff T.J. Tullis and Town Marshal Burra Blakeney of Taylorsville in the name of the law to capture the wild woman of Leaf River Swamp or know the reason why. They now know they couldn't find her. The party formed at the home of P.A. Walker, who reported seeing the demented woman who claims to have lived in the swamps the past 6 years and took to the lowlands of the river at 8:30 o'clock. Spaced 50 paces apart, the party moved down the river for several miles to the abandoned sawmill site where the young woman claims to have lived, without seeing any trace of her. The search was given up about 10:30 o'clock, and the party made its way back to the starting point. It is likely that no further effort will be made by a posse to run the woman to earth, but that if she reappeared, it is planned to secure dogs and put on her trail. The woman, extremely muscular, is said to be covered in short brown hair. That's the end of that one. And here's one more. I don't see the title for it, but it's real short. Okay, the title is Wild Woman. I'm sorry. Unmolested by the rules of etiquette and unhampered by polite society, a wild woman has been eluding all searchers in the woods of Smith County. Famous now as the Wild Woman of Leaf River Swamp, she dines on raw rabbits and other tidbits, wears little, if any, clothing, and is covered with short brown hair, and has been seen several times but never captured. And I think that's the last article. But anyway, I thought that was interesting, and you all may not think it is, but I have so many people, most of them that I know are dead now, dead and gone, but uncles and aunts and just people I grew up visiting down there around Amy and the Tom Bigby River Bottoms. That's where my people lived. And I would love to have them around and ask them if they remember this, because a lot of them were alive in 1929. Anyway, I just thought I'd take a break from working. It's Sunday. I'm trying to crank some workout that's due Tuesday. Missed a great camp out at Land Between the Lakes with some friends because of this damn work. Good grief. It's driving me crazy. But I thought I'd just put this podcast out real quick and, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes long. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.